Alrighty, guys, good evening. We have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect here, way down south by the Evansville area. We are in Vanderburgh County. For reference, we are directly to the east of downtown Evansville. Severe warning in effect here. It's going to be for the storm impacting the Evansville area. Hazard with it is 60-mile-per-hour winds and also a possible tornado tag on this. A little bit weird, but there is enough low level spin out there that we could get some type of rotation developing with this particular storm. Although it's not overly strong or per se concerning, there is enough of it out there that the storm may try to tap into it and try to at least rotate just a bit. So this is going to be moving to the east northeast here toward Melody Hill and Highland areas. Again, Evansville, downtown Evansville is actually just sitting to the east of this particular storm. So it'll be impacted here momentarily. But you see this little bit of a hook here, a little bit of an indentation between Evansville and Vanderburgh, the words there. That is where we're going to keep an eye on for anything potentially tornadic that could spin up with this storm. Otherwise, I believe the hazard with this is just some gusty winds here. I don't see any hail concerns with the storm. So that's good news. We're going to take the 2-panel look off, go back to a 1-panel, and we're going to go ahead and animate this guy for you guys to get an idea of how these storms are moving today. So if you're up there in Highland or Melody Hill area, you are in line for this storm, and the yellow polygon that just popped on the screen is for your severe warning. So this is going to be in effect until 5:45 p.m. Eastern, 4:45 p.m. Central. We zoom out here and take a look across the area. Got some pop-ups down here on the Kentucky border. Going further north here, got some pop-ups up here in Lawrence County, also up here in Greene County as well. But generally speaking, these are just pop-up showers. The severe threat today is very minimal. There's really no severe threat at all besides just one storm that decided to go rogue on us today. It's not impossible that this happens. It's just kind of unusual. Up here in Madison and Delaware, as well as Hamilton counties, got some cells that popped up there as well. They are currently not severe. There could be some gusty winds down here just north of Noblesville, but otherwise, there's really not much to talk about with these storms up in the central part of the state. The focus and only focus currently is going to be on this storm down near Evansville. What's up, Kurt? Glad to see you in chat here. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, and X. For those of you who would like to tune in on different platforms, we are live for 3 platforms there for you guys. Your platform of choice. What's up, Julie? Good to see you in here. We'll be on here as long as the storm is warned. We do go live for a lot of severe storms here at IWN, so you're going to see a lot more of us in the future. There's no really widespread threat today for anything strong or severe. This is just one of those storms that decide to go rogue. It shouldn't last too long, which is good news. But in the time being, it does pose a threat here for gusty winds, as well as potential for a brief tornado, according to the warning. What's up, Don? What's up, Corey? What's going on, guys? Going to share this over to our other accounts. We are good to go. All right. Let's go ahead and take a dive into, I'm going to switch my screen here to a different radar product. Now, the reason I don't have this up initially is because the velocity on this is delayed by several minutes. It's like 30 minutes old, but the radar here is also 10 minutes. We're just not going to use this today, actually. This is behind. Must be a data feed issue. Let's go ahead and switch it back over. Apologies about that. Let's go ahead and take a peek back at this radar here, and we're going to take a 2-panel look to keep an eye on our rotation with this as well. Any rotation that's in the storm appears to be pretty weak in nature. It's going to be down here just north of Evansville, right where I'm circling my mouse on the left side of the screen there. That's going to be the area to watch for anything rotating wise, but I personally do not see anything to be concerned about with that particular feature. The rotation on is very weak in nature, but it's definitely a little bit of an inflow notch there that could try to spin something up, but it doesn't look organized. In fact, the latest scan there is kind of closing that off, so that's good news. So the severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for Vanderburgh counties, Vanderburgh County, should I say, singular there. It's going to be until 4:45 p.m. Eastern. Again, the hazard on this is 60-mile-per-hour winds, and then the tag for a possible tornado. What's up, Tabitha, Mary? What's up, Tiffany? Good to see you guys in here. And again, like I said before, if you're just tuning in, kind of wondering what's going on, there's really no threat today for severe weather across the state. This is just one storm that decided to get an attitude and it prompted us to go live. So here we are. We don't expect any other areas to get severe weather. We can peek around. I see a lot of questions kind of filing in here for certain areas and locations across the state. We've got some pop-ups, outside of the southwest part of the state here. Got some pop-ups across Bloomington area, Bloomfield, Bedford. These are just showers. Not much going on there. The only heavier rain and heavier showers are up here in the Madison, Delaware, and Hamilton County areas. This particular storm right here, just north of Noblesville, has my eye actually. There's a little bit of a hook on this one, which is weird. There's also some increased velocity there, so perhaps some gusty winds up here just north of Noblesville. But overall, it doesn't look overly concerning, but definitely some heavier rain in there. And then further north, just some scattered light rain showers up by the Michigan border, Angola, South Bend, Gary. It's very, very light in nature. So there's not much going on across the state. Just this one storm that decided to surprise us and go rogue. Don't mind me as I toggle through some of these radar features here to get a better idea of what's going on. It has an outflow boundary on it. You see this little green line that comes out of it and kind of goes down here. That's an outflow boundary. That usually means the storm is weakening. Typically, that's what it means. So we'll have to see what it does here. This warning goes for another 20 minutes, 19 minutes to be exact. And again, central Vanderburgh counties is the only county underneath this warning here. Areas include, other than Highland, Evansville, you have Nob Hill, Earl, Hillsdale, Elliott, and Smythe. I believe that's how it's pronounced. Currently being impacted by perhaps some small hail and gusty winds, Highland, Harwood, Casson, St. Joseph, and Hillsdale, as well as Darmstadt. Animate that again. Moving northeast here at about 30 or so miles per hour. So a slow mover with this storm today. It's not moving very fast, which is, it's good news. It means it doesn't impact as many people as quick as it normally would. So I'll switch over there and keep an eye on that Hamilton County cell just to keep a close eye on it. But personally, I'm not concerned with it. I am going to completely just open up a new tab because the radar product I'm using, Radar Omega, for some odd reason, the data is just not coming in. So I'm going to open a second instance of my current radar product and watch that cell for you guys up there in Hamilton County, just to be safe for you. There. I see a question in here. Is it heading toward Lapel? Pop on my cities here. No, it's going to go north of Lapel. These storms are moving pretty much northeast, and Lapel, you are pretty much due east, a little bit south of that storm, so you are okay from that particular storm. But you do have a chance of a shower or so through the evening, so it may rain. And no problem. Storms are moving north and a little bit east. This line that's currently warned down by Evansville is kind of moving northeast, but if you look at the cells below that here, they're more moving toward the north and just a slight bit east. So we're just going to combine the two and say northeast movement today. We're going to take a peek back here at the velocity on this. And we're actually going to get a degree angle here, 239 over 22. So I'm going to input that in my software here. It gives us a bit better idea of the velocity. 239 over, I say 22. I'll double check that. 239, 22. Yep. So we can switch it over here to our SRV and get a better idea of what's going on. Not much difference. So outside of this current warning, this line does extend down toward the Henderson area here in Kentucky. This is south part of the line is currently not warned. It's just the Evansville area that is warned. Again, this warning is for 60-mile-per-hour winds as well as a possible tornado. Our policy here is to go live for any and all tornado possible or tornado warnings, which is this severe warning does include that possible tag for a tornado. This is why it prompted us to go live here. Typically for one or two, storms that go severe in a day, we typically don't go live, but because this one had that possible tag for a tornado, we wanted to go live and cover it just in case. And the good news, though, at this point, as of current time, which is 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 Central, I don't see anything that's rotating with the storm, which is great news. So we'll be live until the warning drops. And yes, Tiffany, we are live also on YouTube. So feel free to pop over there. We recommend watching over on YouTube. It's a much better experience to watch and interact with us. And we also have moderators over there who can help you kind of point you in the right direction if you have any questions that we miss. So we just recommend hopping over there. Facebook doesn't give us as many options to help you guys out as YouTube does. So, and plus you can actually exit out of the stream and continue watching us on YouTube or on Facebook. You can't do that. Once you exit the stream, you're done. You can't watch anymore. But YouTube, you can put it in the corner. You can go to different apps. You can call people, stuff like that. So that's the best part. And no, there's really nothing bad expected tonight. Again, this storm down by Evansville in far southwest Indiana decided to get an attitude. Wasn't expected today. There's a lot of instability, storm fuel in the very low levels of the atmosphere, which is likely what's prompting this storm to briefly go strong to severe. But there's no other severe weather expected across the state. So if you're up there asking in Fort Wayne or Muncie or Richmond, Terre Haute areas, there's just not much to talk about. It's just scattered showers and maybe a rumble of thunder. Yes, there is potential for some cold air funnels tomorrow. That is due to we have a low pressure system kind of sitting over us. And with that low pressure overhead, it gives a little bit more spin and it gives just kind of like the right ingredients to have a few funnel clouds tomorrow. Those are not generally, they're not really tornadoes per se. They form differently and they're not as strong as a funnel cloud from a tornado. These are more so weak, thin, and they're very, very short-lived, and they rarely ever touch ground. So tomorrow we have a few storms try to do that, but today, not really seeing much out there besides this one storm. And even this one storm, looking at the wind velocity and everything that's with it, I don't really see much of anything to be too concerned. I mean, it's gusty for sure between Elberfeld and Melody Hill down here with this. I wish I could circle this, but where you see this little bit brighter reds kind of filling in here, that's where the gust front is. But generally speaking, you want to see a brighter, much brighter red than what we're seeing here. So this doesn't look overly concerning to me personally. But the NWS decided to warn this, so take it seriously. This is going to move into Warwick County here. In fact, they just extended the warning, which I'm kind of curious about. They just extended this warning over into Warwick counties as well as Southern Pike and the southeast part of Gibson County. Let's go ahead and take a peek at this and figure out why they extended this. They're continuing it for wind gusts up to 60. Interesting. Looking on the velocity here, we just talked about this. Like, I don't see 60-mile-per-hour winds happening. There is an outflow boundary there that may be enhancing those wind gusts just a bit. Excuse me. But I don't really see too much here that really indicates that anything is happening of significance. But we'll wait to see if there's any gusts or any reports or damage reports coming out of the area, because sometimes radar can't pick it up. So we don't want to always conclude on radar we're not getting anything. But I'm just saying that from my perspective of things, how the radar is looking, I don't really see too much in the way of strong winds occurring. So again, new warning in effect. We just went over the counties of Warwick, Southern, Pike, and Southeastern Gibson counties. And that warning goes until 5:15 Central, 6:15 Eastern. So that's another 45 or so minutes. The track of the storm is northeast at about 30 miles per hour. I'll go ahead and zoom out here and animate it for you guys. I will also take the county names off so it's a little less cluttered on my screen. There we go. Now it's just city names. Watching that cell up in Hamilton County still has a little bit of a gust front with it, but not seeing anything of significance happening up there. Yep. Terre Haute, Brazil. We gotta go north here. We're not really seeing much anything of concern happening. Again, showers, pop up little popcorn, as I call them, showers and storms, a possibility here, as we can kind of see scattered throughout the southwest part of the state. Terre Haute, Brazil area, you're clear, you're dry for now. But look to your south, you got some light showers here that may try to sprinkle on you here in about 30 minutes or so. Bear with me just 1 second here. I'm grabbing a code that we need on the back end of things for our chasers. I will take attention back up to the north here, just a minute to Hamilton County. There's no warnings up here, but this storm does have an intriguing little hook with it, but there's no rotation on velocity. If there is, it's very weak in nature, but there's a little bit of a pocket of some brighter velocities here over Cicero. I assume that's how I pronounce it, just south of Arcadia. So if you're in the north Noblesville, south of Arcadia near Cicero, perhaps some gustier winds occurring there. We'll watch that. So another warning extended here just moments ago for the north central half of Warwick County, the southern part of Pike, and the very far extreme southeast corner of Gibson. And that's going to be a 60-mile-per-hour wind. And there's no possible tornado tag on this. I will say as well, with this particular storm, I am seeing that there is a little bit of a green line out ahead of this. That indicates the gust front there, which is likely why they warn this. Sometimes those gust fronts cannot be accurately depicted. Oftentimes, actually, they're not really accurately depicted with current wind speeds. So the fact we have a gust front on this is likely why we're not really seeing anything concerning with radar per se. But because that gust front exists, it's probably stronger than radar's picking up. Going back further south here, the storm that prompted the warning is now out of the current or the former warning box, but the secondary part, the southern part of that line is now pushing through. So checking out that line, again, I don't see anything concerning on radar, rotation, velocity wise, but there is that gust front here. It's now south of Evansville. I'm going to check on the power outage map and just kind of take a peek at that really quick to see if anything's coming in from any electrical companies, just to kind of get an idea if there's any strong winds. Because if there is strong winds occurring, they'll likely produce some power outages here. Vanderburgh County has 38 people out. Warwick has 5, so not too many. Gibson has 63, so perhaps just a tiny bit kind of filling in there. So we'll see. We'll see if that number increases or not. No, again, we're not really expecting severe weather tonight. Even though we have this warning in effect, it's kind of like a surprise, I guess, severe storm. So we don't really expect anything additional to occur outside this current storm. Steven, one of our staff members here, says, fun fact, on this day in 2024, we're also live with Chasers in the Field last year. Interesting stat there, Steven. All right, so places included with a new warning that was issued about 5 minutes ago or so: Spurgeon, Linville, Boonville, Chandler, and any place between. It doesn't look too populated here, which is good news. Looks pretty rural in nature. I'm going to see if my old radar software has decided to update finally, because I like using that a lot better than I like using this one for at least displaying to you guys. It's easier to communicate and stuff. So let's see if this is actually updated. It's not. I don't know why, but we'll stick with this one. Also note that this has a little bow feature here. So a bow is kind of like a backward C shape. When you get that feature on radar, it can sometimes indicate that strong winds are occurring on the leading edge of the storm. So that's another indication that we have some gustier winds occurring. In fact, what is going on up here? I don't like that look. We're going to keep a close eye on that here too. I'm going to get an updated track on this. We're looking at 239 at 30. Apply perhaps some rotation on the north edge of this storm, just north of Elberfeld. This is actually a pretty common feature called a bookend vortex. On the very top of these bow echoes, you can get kind of air wrapping in on itself, and that appears to be what's happening up there. So I would suggest a bit of rotation between Mackay and Elberfeld. The warning that was issued, the first one had a possible tornado tag on it. The second one does not. And for the most part, this is actually riding the very northern edge of this warning polygon, the yellow line here. So we'll see if they decide to extend this or perhaps update the warning to reflect that. We'll see. But do keep in mind Somerville and Mackey areas, perhaps some gusty winds and maybe some weak rotation at this point heading your direction. Also, to note further south here, we're seeing a little bit of an increase in our winds heading toward Linville. So that could also be of a concern here. Places include Spurgeon, Linville, 64 here, Jockey, Dickeyville, Eby, Turpin Hill, Greenbrier, and Folsomville. Those are areas between where this storm is heading. And I'm really keying in up here on the north edge of this cell. Go ahead and animate this for you. I'm actually going to take a secondary look on my other radar, and we'll do it this way. Perfect. There we go. So these radar scans are coming in here at every 3 minutes or so. So we're getting good data coming from the radar here in Evansville. And the good news is that I'm seeing that it doesn't appear to be trying to spin anything up. It's turned more to a straight line wind look to it. There's still some there we're going to keep a close eye on, but I think it was more organized here the past couple of scans. It's kind of spreading out and becoming weaker now, which is typically a good sign. But still, it still has that look to it. We're going to keep a close eye on it regardless. Likely some stronger winds moving into Linville right now as we speak. State Route 61, Greenbrier, Turpin Hill, all the way up toward the Spurgeon area, likely about to be impacted by some stronger winds, perhaps severe, which is going to be 60 mile per hour. Yeah, today was kind of a surprise day here. There's one storm currently that has a severe warning in the state. There's no more severe expected. This is just kind of one of those storms that decides to get an attitude for a brief time and it does what it wants to do. But across the state, we don't expect other severe weather to occur. If it does, it'll be very sporadic and very short lived. So, but I don't currently expect that. I think the closest storm to being strong would be Hamilton County up north of Indy. That's the only storm that I really see that would have my eye, but even then, it doesn't look overly appealing for severe weather. That first warning that was issued for the Evansville area and Vanderburgh counties that has been allowed to expire at 5:45, so they dropped that. So no warning now for Evansville, but you do have a secondary storm coming into town right now. It's currently not severe. It does not look to be severe either. Perhaps some gusty winds, and by gusty I mean like 20 or 30 miles per hour. Any questions in chat? Feel free to drop them. It's a little bit of a slow day here, but that's okay. Hopefully, if anybody's in the path who's watching this, or getting you guys good info here. That's our goal. Take a look back up here further north and go ahead and animate this for you guys. Warning in effect here for the southern part of Pike County, southeastern Gibson, northern central Warwick counties until 6:15 Eastern and 5:15 Central. This severe storm is currently moving into Linville as we speak, as of 5:49 Eastern, 4:49 Central. On deck, Spurgeon, Co. And then this highway here is going to be Highway State Route 68, State Route 61, as well as 64. Linville is the most populated area out of where the storm is currently headed. Is Crawfordsville clear for the night? The answer on that is going to be you're going to have showers and storms all throughout the evening into the overnight period, none of which are expected to be severe. There's just one severe storm. One storm decided to say, "Hey, I want to go and be an anomaly today," and that's what's currently going on here. So, gusty winds are occurring on the north side of this warning, just south of Mackey here. Zoom in here. Buckskin, Rosebud, just north of State Route 68 here, also north of Interstate 64, west of Spurgeon. That's where the gustiest winds are occurring. A little bit brighter reds here on your radar between Mackey and Linville. That's the area that we're keeping a closer eye on. Rotation has still there briefly, but it doesn't really scream strong or wrapping up to be tornadic. It's just kind of there. Will these storms intensify as they move on? They're not expected to. Not expected to. Ironically, we put a post out, I think it was like yesterday or 2 days ago, that said that there is no severe weather expected through the weekend. And that kind of still holds true, but it is Indiana. It is also, it's also Friday the 13th. So there's also that going for it. But this was not expected today. The entire state has a chance for a shower or storm this evening, primarily south of Indy, around or south of Indy. We have some storms further north as well that are popping up there. But for the most part, most of the rumbles of thunder will be south of Indianapolis tonight. The storm up here in the Cicero area continues to be a little strong. So again, the increased green velocity there is kind of what we're keeping an eye on, but it doesn't look organized to a point where we're going to mention it for potential severe. I don't think it's there yet. I don't think it will get there. Most of these storms and showers are south or along Indianapolis I-70. Yep, and as always, if I'm not talking about your specific area or county, usually when we're live and we're not talking about you, you're usually okay. If I am talking about you, that's usually not a good sign. Any questions, guys? Feel free to drop them in chat. I would advise not to ask specific location questions because the answer is going to be the same. The only people of concern right now in the state are down in very far southwest Indiana in the Warwick counties. Exact counties here: Warwick, Pike, and Gibson. And if this storm continues, Dubois, Orange, Crawford, and Perry counties, as well as Spencer. If you're not in one of those counties, I would not really talk about you much at all because there's not much going on, and there will not be much going on for you guys. It's just the same answer across the state: scattered showers and perhaps rumble of thunder through the evening. No severes expected, except if you're in one of those counties I listed. The reason we are live is because the initial warning that was issued had a tag on it for a possible spin up tornado. The new warning currently doesn't have that, but we did at least have a little bit of area of rotation that tried to tighten up there. But the ingredients today, there's just not much out there to support tornadoes. So, I mean, if you don't have support for it, you're not going to have a long lasting situation, which is what we're seeing with this storm. So, we'll see how this trends over the next couple of minutes and hours, and see how we trend. But otherwise, we'll probably pop out of here once this warning is dropped or expires. Again, gusty winds are occurring on the north edge down here by Mackey and Spurgeon. That's where the strongest winds are occurring, just north of Linville here, north of the highway. That's going to be probably on radar here, 40 to 50 mile per hour winds occurring. Then perhaps some gustier winds right down the highway here of 64 occurring, but it's hard to depict how strong those are because radar doesn't really say they're strong. But in my experience with this gust front, you can still have strong wind gusts that aren't depicted by radar, which is likely what's happening here. Going here to the Indiana power outage map, no new outages are coming in. That's a great sign. We're not increasing, which usually means no strong winds are occurring, because if strong winds were occurring, at that point we have tree damage, we have power line damage, people losing power. So the fact we're staying even suggests that the storm is not producing severe wind gusts, or in the very worst case, producing very isolated severe wind gusts, both of which is good news. I thought I heard thunder just now, but it was just a plane. I hate when that happens. For those who live by the airport and love storms, it's easy to get too confused. Yeah, we're not going to be live here too much longer. This warning goes until 6:15, so 15 more minutes. If they extend it, we'll have to see how it looks like in here about 15 minutes or so. Because if they drop it, we'll hop off. But if they extend it, we typically want to stay on until the threat's over. But this one doesn't really look to be overly concerning, and the data suggests that it's not. So we'll play it by ear. You too, Tabitha. Do we have an update on that yet or no? No, we don't. Cool. Usually you're going to see me use this radar. I like the way it looks. The words are bigger. I like the layout smoother. But the unfortunate reality for some reason tonight is the data is lagging like 5 or 10 minutes behind, which is, unacceptable when you're tracking severe weather like this. So, flood advisory coming in for Evansville looks like. So we can get I can't click on that. Let me try to get a better look at that real quick. I wish I knew what one it was. Nope. I wish I could click it, but I can't. But it looks like there's a flood advisory in effect for Evansville. So if you're in downtown Evansville, the urban areas of town, don't drive through flooded roadways, please. You never know how deep that water is going to be. I'm not sure how long it goes to. Unfortunately, I can't. You know what? There's a way around this. We turn off statements. There we go. In effect until 7:45 Central, which is 8:45 Eastern, says minor flooding in low-lying areas and poor drainage areas. So there you go. Vanderburgh counties, Evansville proper, mainly affected by that. And with more rain coming in, that will likely exaggerate those issues further. So again, please do not drive through flooded roadways. Severe warning continues for another 15 minutes. Switch it back over here to good old high-tech radar. And still has some gusty winds occurring near Linville as well as Spurgeon. Alana, yes. I do not expect severe weather across the state besides this one storm. There's really nothing supporting severe across the state today. We get these storms in summertime that like to pop up and go strong to severe for brief periods of time, but there's nothing in the atmosphere today that supports organized, widespread, or long-lasting severe weather. So, especially for the north, not seeing that today. I will, however, be watching the last half of June here. We're going to be a little bit hotter and also likely stormier, perhaps as early as next week. We could have increasing storm chances here as we move into summer. So keep that in mind. The weekend here should be nice, rainy, but severe weather-wise, not much expected. We do have a chance for some funnel clouds tomorrow, but those very rarely touch ground. They're very weak, thin, call them cold air funnels. We get those a lot with low pressure systems. So that's a possibility tomorrow, but those technically aren't considered severe. So once this, if they extend this warning here, I probably will not stay on. This storm looks just gusty at this point. I would suggest likely not severe. But of course, I'm not the one to make that call, NWS is, but I don't see a reason to continue staying on and covering this in detail. The area of rotation has ceased. The warning with the possible tag for a tornado has expired. So at this point, any threat looks to be just gusty winds for Linville, Spurgeon, and moving in here toward the Huntingburg area. And again, that's if they extend the warning. It's going to be in toward Jasper, Huntingburg, Holland, Dale, and Ferdinand. That'll be for primarily Dubois County, parts of Pike, Dubois, and Perry likely. And it looks like they just extended this actually as a statement. So they're opting to go below severe criteria. And I'll switch my radar over here for you guys, just so you can see it. This new blue box that is flashing on your screen, that is your new statement So it does appear they're going to let this storm expire, the warning, should I say, expire, and they'll move into a statement. So that gives us the cue to get off here once the storm is out of the warning. Once it is, we'll pop out of here. Which on your screen currently is 8 minutes old, which is why I'm not using this radar today. I just want to show you guys that new polygon, the new box that came in. This is more updated, and this is what radar looks like currently. So a few minutes here, we'll be out of here. Got a video here coming in third hand out of the Evansville area, it appears, of ongoing flooding. Yeah, Pat, that is why I prefer to use the other software I have. This is not the best for public showing. It's more advanced, more features, but I like using my other software to broadcast to you guys because the words and everything's more legible. The problem is, for some odd reason, this software is not fluently updating. So I'm looking at old data, and I don't want to display old data to you guys. So apologies, I can't change that for now, but in the future we'll be using this, which is a bit better for you guys to see those cities and see the counties. And this storm is now moving out of the current warning and into the next county over. Selvin, Holland on deck here, as well as State Route 64 near Augusta, Hartwell, and Stendal. All those areas are not currently in the warning. They're in a statement for gusty winds that are not severe. Taking a peek here at our wind velocities. I mean, honestly, this is a good pocket developing here of gusty winds between Ennisville or Enosville and Spurgeon. Radar indicating this is about 45 to 50 miles per hour. So it's a bit gustier than what it was, but still, I don't really think it's worth staying on here to cover in detail. I will say that this will continue toward Huntingburg, Jasper, Pikeville, Velpen, Stendal, and Holland areas. And that will be over the next couple of 20 or so minutes to be exact. And that's all I'm really seeing in terms of a threat would be just some gusty winds that probably are not going to be severe. There's potential for it to be severe, but based on radar currently, that is not the case. Alrighty. So once this moves out of the warning polygon, which is very shortly, about 3 minutes or so, we'll pop out of here and we'll let you guys enjoy your night. But if you are in Southern Pike, Western Dubois County. You have the immediate line of fire, so to speak, with the storm. Prepare for some gusty winds, probably close to 40 or 50 miles per hour as it passes through. Also, some heavy rain may cause some localized flooding as this moves through as well. But severe weather should not be a big concern. If it does go severe, it'll be very brief in nature. And if anything goes go back tornadic looking or possible tornadic, we'll go back live. But for right now, I don't foresee that happening. But of course, it's Indiana, so weirder things have happened. It's also Friday the 13th. And the good news, though, is they just dropped the warning. They have just dropped the warning polygon. It is no longer severe warned. So that means we are all clear. We're just in some statements here, which are not currently severe. So with that said, that's our cue to get off. Like I said before, we'll go back live if anything looks concerning, tornadic wise or intense severe wise with like gust, winds 70 plus or large hail. That's not expected tonight though, so we don't expect to go back live. In the meantime, you guys enjoy yourself and also enjoy the outro video here. I'm Ryan signing off. I'll catch you guys hopefully not for a while, but if need be, I'll be back on here later.